Having a quorum, I'd like to open the Architectural Board of Review agenda for today, August 8th, 2011, starting with general business. Anyone in the audience would like to approach the board on a matter not on the agenda, please step forward. Seeing no one, I'll close that portion and bring it to approval of the minutes of the ABR meeting of July 25th, 2011. Do I have a motion to open those minutes?
So moved.
Thanks, Keith. First, second by Dawn. So on those minutes, anything before the first item? Item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. Okay, all those in favor of the minutes as reviewed, please indicate, say aye. Aye. Against, that motion carries. And we'll move to the consent calendar of August 1st. Review those minutes. Can I have a motion to open those minutes? First by Dawn, second by? Second by Keith. Bring it back to Jaime.
Mr. Chair, on August 1st, item A, 3985 State Street, received project design and final approvals as noted on the plans. It's for the Petco store expansion. Item B, 215 Pesetas Lane, received final approval of landscaping. Item C, 3761 State Street, final approval with conditions. Item D, 2930 Cliff Drive, final approval with conditions. That was for wireless communication equipment. And item E, 710 Olive Street, final approval as submitted. Those items were reviewed by Orel and Jillian.
Thank you. All those in favor of those minutes as reviewed, please say aye. Aye. Against, that motion carries. Motion to open the minutes of August 8th, or the consent calendar for August 8th, 2011.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
First by Keith, second by Dawn.
Mr. Chair, there's only one item, item A, 336 North Milpa Street. That's the Fresh and Easy Neighborhood Market. It was back for a final approval for the updated landscape plan. And that plan has incorporated some revised building setbacks for the street right-of-way as directed by City Council. Mm-hmm. And there's still some concerns about whether the front trees are to be removed as part of that excavation, and we'll be knowing some more information as soon as they submit some more information and details on that issue.
Okay, can I ask you a question,
Sure.
Jaime? They moved the front setback, so there are some ramifications to that with the detailing of the exterior. So is that something that is not going to come back to full board? It's just going to be reviewed at consent?
The direction was it was to return to staff to verify that the changes to the widths would be achieved to the maximum extent feasible. And we did that without changing the architecture. What we essentially did was shift the building back.
The whole building moved back?
Somewhat to achieve more clearances, as well as a reduction of a planter from, I think it was 2 feet, maybe to down to 18 inches. And then they reduced some space out into the rear parking areas, which were impacted by the move. And we reduced some landscape finger planters where that interfered with their truck operations. So the direction I received from the community development director is that would be an acceptable trade-off to allow some slight reductions in those finger planters in the rear parking lot to achieve the expanded sidewalk widths. So
So staff made that calculation?
yes. And so we feel it's in substantial conformance with your approvals. The architecture still remains as approved.
All right. Okay, all those in favor of the consent for today minutes, please say aye. Aye. Against, motion carries. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. We're just going to adjourn for 1 minute and start.
A request to confirm attendance at City Council on August 23rd for the 903 West Mission Street appeal. It's back before council. Yes, so we would need to have a Bears rep on the revised design. Okay, so we don't need the whole crew. We just need too many. Okay, pardon me? Yes. Yes, it'll be in the afternoon. Okay, well, we'll expect either one or both of you. 23rd is a Tuesday. No, this would be August 23rd. So it'd be in about 2-3 weeks. Well, we'll send you a reminder email also. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Really? No, we can wait a couple of minutes.
Wait, okay. Wait a couple.
Recess still.
Board review today, August 8th, 2011. We took a break at item D of general business, announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items and appeals. Anything from anyone? No? Seeing nothing. At subcommittee reports, I don't think we have anything. And that would bring us to the first item of the evening, 215 Pacetas Lane. And I think that this is the MRI location. So I'll just read the minutes that pertain to just before we split up the projects into the MRI trailer and the entry area. So an item of the motion, number 3, the tall green screen at the MRI trailer is not acceptable. Study a combination of landscaping and fixed site elements to screen the trailer. Consider lowering the trailer parking space to minimize visible height. Provide screening from all sides. Okay, I think that's applicable, and that was just prior to it being separated, and we thought we'd deal with the MRI trailer separately, and that's where we are now.
Correct.
Right. Okay,
So
go ahead.
this is a very preliminary submittal. It's not a complete package. The idea was to get in front of everyone and get some initial feedback on several options that we have outlined in here. The scope of work, when we ultimately submit a complete package, the scope of work is not just the MRI trailer, but it also entails a small canopy along the north entry to the building and a generator and generator enclosure as part of the project. And all of those items are shown here, but the options that are included are really around the MRI trailer.
Okay.
And so I can walk you through those options.
Okay.
I'm sure you've had a chance to review them briefly.
Yeah, just before you started,
Sure.
you could state your name for the record.
Oh, Darcy Hernandez.
Okay, thanks.
And so, let me just flip here. There are 3 options on the sheet A 0.1 that are outlined. All of these options are all located in a very similar location to where the existing MRI trailer is to date. The first option looks at leaving the MRI in the same location that it is, providing a CMU wall in front of the MRI trailer on both the east side and on the south side of the MRI trailer, and then also providing some removable decorative screens on the west side of the MRI trailer so that it is screened on all sides of the MRI trailer. It is removable and not a permanent. This allows them to be able to move the MRI trailer from one facility to another as needed. Landscaping has been increased and improved along the frontage street of Posadas Lane here, and these options also show a general kind of proposed location and an idea of how the generator will be enclosed, and accounts for some other services that are currently located on the east side of the building, the trash, the recycling, medical waste as well. There is an image that begins to kind of show the look of this elevation from Posadas Lane below. It shows the CMU wall, a trellis above the CMU wall, a fairly varied level of landscaping, and the existing trees that are along Posadas Lane. That's option number one. Option number two, in the same general location along the east side of the property, looks at rotating the MRI trailer, providing a new CMU wall along the east side and the south side, and then again providing some decorative removable panels around the other sides of the MRI trailer with some potted landscape plants in front, or potted plants that could be moved in front of those panels as well. Again, all of those are removable. The idea would be that in case they needed to take the MRI trailer out of there, it's still feasible without something fixed in its way. All the landscaping would be upgraded there as shown along Posadas Lane and along the south side of the CMU wall. The third option looks at tucking the MRI trailer a little bit further back behind some of the existing vegetation. As you can see from the elevation there, it's just located a little bit south from the existing MRI trailer. The idea would be to remove some of the existing vegetation and place a CMU wall with new landscaping and vegetation that would grow up in front of that, and upgrade some of the landscaping just approaching that MRI trailer. There are some clearance issues regarding the path of travel. The MRI trailer sticks out in that location far enough into the accessible path of travel, so this would require some rerouting of the sidewalk. We've also provided for some new concrete in order to allow for the MRI trailer to be put back in that location, basically. Currently, right now in that location, it is a grass area that the staff uses for outdoor lunch, that sort of thing. These are the first three options. The fourth option is an option that we wanted to present to you, but has a little bit of a contingency to it, I guess you could say, or requirements. We would like to propose the location behind the building to the west side of the building. This is the same location that we had originally proposed the temporary lab trailer for. The reason why we're proposing this is because in the future, within the next 2 to 3 years, there will be some restructuring of the existing building and moving some of the service lines out. And this would allow us to provide a new connection from the existing imaging suite within the building to this location for the MRI trailer. And this would allow us to tuck it behind the building off of Posadas Lane. Unfortunately, the time frame for allowing us to provide this connection, which is really critical to their imaging services, is still 2 to 3 years out. And so it would need to be something that we could reach an agreement on, that this could wait until that time frame. Those are the four options. There should also be some photos here that show some of the surrounding area, and just for reference, the improvements that we're making along the south side of the building as well.
So with that fourth option, are you still going to do some improvements that option one reflects? Or?
That wasn't the original intent, but it is tucked completely behind the building, not visible from the street. There is landscaping pretty thick here, and then the is that 154? 154 is right out behind it, and so there's not any neighbors that abut that or anything like that. So
Okay.
with that,
Are you okay?
yeah,
Okay.
That's the MRI portion, but we're doing some other stuff with the north, with the canopy entrance.
right. And so and I think I mentioned that at the beginning, there is some images here with regards to some proposed initial canopy schemes. The intent is that this mimics a very similar architecture to what we have proposed on the south side of the building. The exact detailing and scale of all of this has not been fine-tuned. Again, this is a very preliminary submittal. The intent was to get some feedback on the MRI options. But this starts to give you the feel and idea, and you can compare it to what we proposed on the south side of the building as well. The images for the MRI that are included in each of the options also reflect the look of our proposed generator enclosure as well.
Okay.
Did you want to add anything?
No, that's good.
Okay. Oh, you said it also includes the proposed generator. That's
Yes.
so. Just show us on the plan here. Just show the board where the proposed generator is on each of the three.
And it's
Location.
located in the same location on all of the MRI options.
And that's
But it's located east of the building. This is currently where their maintenance department is, and their electrical room is located back here.
Yes.
So in terms of where their existing services and deliveries are, it all occurs off of this existing.
right. So that's the idea.
This is it, right off the corner northeast of the building.
Right.
And you can see that's the same in all the options.
Okay. And that's the proposal to put that generator. Yeah. Okay. I'd just like to see if there's any public comment on this. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the board for questions. And to the left, Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So can you just go over the time frame for option 4 and just go over that again?
Sure. The Sansom Clinic is in the process of moving several of those services to a new location that would start construction. I think the earliest would be beginning of 2014. Is that the schedule we looked at today?
No, the construction should be completed by 14.
Okay, so construction would be complete by 2014. That was June, was that right?
Approximately, yes.
Approximately June, and after the construction was complete, obviously would take several months to kind of move over the service line in pieces, and so we could move the MRI trailer over, within about 6 months or of after the existing service lines had been evacuated from the building.
Don? No questions? Paul?
Question having to do about the generator, recycle, and trash. Currently, what is in that area?
Currently, they're existing, and I think there's some photos of that area that you can refer to, but that is their existing service and delivery area that
Okay,
was
cool. So there are some photos.
has always been there since the building was built in 1968. I think at that time, Pasadas Lane wasn't quite the street that it is now, and there weren't folks across the way, but there currently is their trash and recycling and med-waste containers located in that area, and that's where they receive all of their deliveries based on the maintenance that is located right off of the side of the building.
So the question, are there currently 2 curb cuts or just 1 curb cut?
2 curb cuts.
Okay, so that's the same configuration. There's no loss to any street trees?
Correct. No
Okay.
loss to street
Perfect.
trees.
Only question. Thanks.
Okay. So just coming into the same area that of questioning that Paul had, these 2 temporary units are right here, right now.
Yes,
Right.
that is correct. The
Okay.
intent would be we'd remove those.
Okay, and then these images here show this portion here is this build out right there, and then it steps back. So you're going to make this new enclosure, and you have these tall units here. Okay, so my first question is that how long has the MRI been in the location it is in right now?
I'm thinking. Probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Okay. And we're looking at option 4 would be another 2 years and 6 months to get all the piping in before you would be able to initiate that switch over.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Let's see. And then I think I have no other questions. So I'm ready for comments, and I will swing to the left again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just first comment on the proposed entry canopy. I think that's, in keeping with everything else you guys are doing, and so I think that's headed in the right direction. As you pointed out, we'd be looking for the detailing to be similar to the previous one. On the trailer, seems like in the bigger picture of things that option 4 is definitely the better one, with some simple movable landscape, as it were, to kind of screen it from the highway there. That seems like that would be the best. So I guess then the question is, what do you do in the interim? So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, if there's some interim landscape type solution to screen it for a set period of time, knowing that eventually it's going to go over there. But that's sort of my take on that. If that doesn't seem feasible to the rest of the board, it seems like there's an opportunity to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 CMU wall here, and maybe use this in combination to screen this thing. Seems like, in my mind, either option 2 or 3 are kind of headed in the right direction. 2, because it turns at 90 degrees, so you don't have the big, long edge. And number 3, because it brings it in closer to the building, and it seems like there's opportunities that with this new CMU walls and or the trash enclosure that could kind of integrate to feel like it's part of the building that just happens to kind of jut out and screen the trailer. So I think that would be my comment there, would be maybe to somehow kind of integrate that more into the architecture so that it all looks like some appendage to the building that's doing those 2 functions. In that process, I don't know if there's a functional way this can be turned 90 degrees or split up and turned 90 degrees so that all the doors aren't facing the street but are turned 90 degrees. So that might be a study with the truck flow and everything there.
Well, can I just comment?
Well, I think, those are my comments on the proposals.
Yeah. Well, let's just hear everybody's
Sure.
comments,
Sure.
and then before we make a motion, I'll give you a short
Great.
chance to
Thank you.
answer. Dawn?
Why don't you let Paul go first?
If you want to comment on which of the options they're best leaning towards, I would say option 3 is the best leaning towards. It puts the wall further back, and it also incorporates the wall with what's going on with the generator enclosure wall. Option 2, as well as what Keith said, is a good option. I would say if you're going through this exercise, you should dot in where your second or your third MRI trailer is, because we don't know what type of medical stuff you're going to have in the future. But if you're not going to be building a full-fledged building and you're basically relying on technology that comes on a semi-trailer that's here for a week or a day or 2, maybe that's the way medicine's going to be in the future. So I'm looking at option 3 going, well, here's a way that you can maybe even have another trailer in that spot in the zone. It messes up your handicap parking, and you can address that later at that time frame. But I'm more looking at the long-term solution versus, is this MRI trailer really a short-term fix, or is this going to be a permanent thing forever here, but it's going to be technology that every 4 years comes in a new semi-trailer. And then at some time you might have 2 semi-trailers parked there. So I'd sort of look at how I could lay this out for that thinking, and I would say option 3 takes that in consideration, and even an option 2, provided you can get the turning radiuses to work. So given that, I'm more leaning towards option 3 because I can see how it can be utilized in the future layouts. The covered entry in the back, there's no concern with whatsoever. The enhancements to the generator and the trash are all positive. I can tell from the existing photographs that that's an improvement.
Thanks, Paul. Don?
Just realized I had another question. How can you access the MRI trailer and make this turn with it by even doing on option 3? Yeah. How can you even do that?
Those MRI trailer drivers are pretty amazing, honestly. I don't know how they do it, but I've seen them tucked into spaces tighter than this. They should be able to swing it in like this and back right in. They've made much tighter turning radiuses. The truck can even go at a 90 and back it in and then pull back out.
Okay. So you've gone over that with them. Okay. So that being said, I agree with what everybody else has said, that in my opinion, option 3 is kind of going in the right direction. I'm not opposed to option 4 necessarily, but it doesn't do anything to screen the trailer, really. So
Option 4?
option 4, which is relocating it to the rear of the building,
What does it?
wasn't showing anything in front of it.
But it could do that.
But they could do that. So I guess in my opinion, option 3 is an okay option. And in option 4, if you could screen it with the temporary screening, similar to what you're proposing on the other options in some of the elevations. So everything else I agree with the rest of the board on the appropriateness of those other things.
Thanks, Don. Just one quick question before I give my comment. I see that this sticks out here a little bit, and that's why you had to go out here. But yet it's not shown on this elevation here that it comes out this way. Is that an error here, or is that an error there? Because you've gone to all this trouble to come out.
This is an error to not reflect that this is coming out past.
So it really sticks out here, and the wall ends right here.
Yep.
Right. So that comes
that
like
is
that.
correct.
Okay.
So that needs to get
So
revised.
that will be a white part of trailer and coming down there. Okay. I think the canopy in the back, I think absolutely is the right direction. That is, it matches the front. It really looks elegant. It's clean lines. It works with the building perfectly. I think, again, just like Keith said, we'd be interested to see what the details are when you come back. But I think the proposal for that canopy in the back is spot on with what you guys have been doing, and I think it's going to be well received here. As far as the options go, and I'm looking at the trailer being already here for 2 to 3 years. I really prefer option 4 as the ultimate location, and that's really because I think what it does is that it's, I'm saying that an MRI trailer here has not been designed to be part of the building. This is really a temporary situation. So it really, if it's not part of the building and it does not work with the building, especially as it sticks out here like that, then it's always seen as an appendage somehow. So I think that this is a stopgap. But I think it's a really good stopgap situation. In other words, I would not prefer to see us wait another 2 or 3 years, 6 months before that trailer is moved. I think you really should plan to do something about the situation it is in already, after having already been there 2 to 3 years. And I would say that what everyone was discussing about this, I think that this is really the best situation of the first three, and it gives I feel in a way that it gives a good half measure where you can get in here and use this for the 2.5 years, and it's really screened from the public. You've done a good job, and if you can look at different ways that you can actually make it even better. But the good thing about this is that I like that when 2.5, 3 years, 6 months is gone, this goes over there, and your staff get to use this area again, and it becomes a green space that's an amenity to your staff instead of eating up all the staff area. So I'd like to see if that is something that you guys would like to investigate, is having this here initially, making this work both for now and the long term. And because what it would be here is this little work that's being involved in here, landscaping, which I think should have been done a long time ago and could be done all the time. So I'm thinking that this work which you have to do, this little screen wall in here, I think is the cost, and this little paving here and this little bump out. So I don't think that that's a lot for the short term, and then you can give this all back to green later on and go back to the 4. And then when you go to the 4, I think that you have to consider that the structure here, these cars will be driving right along the edge of this, and if there is anything you could do, maybe just in this area right here, to make sure that the cars are not driving right next to this trailer, you may probably have a little space where maybe a person could actually step inside of a bollard or two inside here and not be squeezed against the trailer by accident or something like that. And or any landscaping that you could enhance around here and enhance around here that would help that situation. But by and large, that's a perfect place for it to be, I think. And that would be long term. And I think that MRI machines have been around for decades right now, and they have not changed in size greatly.
They don't get any smaller.
The technology is just not there. So it's not as though that MRI is going to go away. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm kind of looking long term, and I'd like to fix the problems that would kind of work. So that's my comment. Would you like to say something now before we go any further? Or?
Well, you addressed my concern with option number 3, and that is taking the green space away from the staff. Because, that is it's a takeaway. A lot of our staff use it as lunch and break areas, and it's green.
Yeah, and it's in a really nice spot. I'd hate to see staff lose that,
I would too.
I think staff would hate to see it given up.
I think you're right. That's my concern.
Yeah. But I'd happily see that go to 4 and transition to 4 later on. I think that would really be a great. And then your staff knows it's just a temporary measure because it's in the works.
So I think part of the concern was there were some expenses related to option 3. You're right. The CMU wall for the generator and all that has to get built out anyways.
Right.
But we are building a secondary CMU wall in here. If there's a way temporarily we could omit that CMU wall and just do some new landscape screening, being that it was just a temporary basis, so that we could limit the expenses for something temporary and then move it over. That I think.
But here's what we'd like you to do. If we say we're favoring this as a stopgap measure, and you have to do this,
Right.
just like you say, if you could just study that to max out your resources and minimize doing extra work, and then come back with a proposal that you think can work really well for you and work for the general public, to give you what you're after. I'm sure when that pad is gone, and you move that to over here, you're probably going to do some taking out the hardscape and putting in some grass and stuff like that, and you'll have to come back and maybe plant some shrub or two or something like that. So we'll take that into consideration, and so we'd like to work with you on you trying to make that a good stopgap proposal to go towards 4.
Just to point out too, really quick, there's an existing box here. It's their existing electrical service, and so I just wanted to call it out to everyone's attention in case you didn't know what that was. That's it.
Okay, and just not to run the risk of railroading the rest of the members. Anybody have a comment on what I said, and does it? Okay, all right, great. Okay, so. We're open to a motion along the lines of both the canopy and the MRI.
Yeah, I can do that. 2 weeks. With a complete statement.
Thanks very much, Keith.
Be a 2-week continuance back to full board with the following comments. Board finds the new entry canopy to be appropriate and looks forward to the detailing of that. The board prefers option 3 or some variation thereof as the preferred scheme, with the understanding that it would be a temporary solution until the trailer can be moved to the other side of the building. Board suggests looking at ways to minimize the initial screen wall construction, perhaps integrating it with some of the new enclosure structures. And board encourages the applicant to look at additional landscaping opportunities in the development of option 3.
Great. Can I ask a question before I close off with Keith? In the option 4, do you want us to give those directional comments about the development of option 4 when you finally get to that stage? I was just thinking about either the bollards or the landscaping.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with regard to the ultimate option 4, the board would be looking for some form of either temporary or movable screening for the exposed portion of the trailer.
Okay. I just need a little clarification. Are you looking for screening to minimize the visual impact, or are you looking for a barrier to make sure that people don't get too close to the trailer? And I don't mean to split hairs, but it seems to me there's a difference.
Visual impact.
I think visuals.
Okay.
And I think that this is outside of the motion. I think that visual can also be had from enhancing the landscaping here and enhancing it here.
Right.
So even
Right.
if you couldn't have like a fence or something.
Right.
But we'd want you to just deal with that comment on its own and let you look at your options.
Right.
And then come back and tell us what you can
Okay.
do about that.
Got
You know,
it.
so,
Got it.
so we kind of give you the big picture and then you. Okay, Keith. Okay, all those
No,
second.
I'll second, but I have
Second
another
by Dan.
comment that we didn't say, or Keith didn't mention when he mentioned option 3 as a temporary option. You didn't say with the elimination of the CMU wall. You did say altering the landscaping, but it might be. Do you think that clarifying that with not doing this, basically option 3 is temporary solution, except for the inclusion
Well, I
of the
indicated
CMU wall.
minimizing the initial wall construction, so that was kind of how I was trying to address that.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by aye. Aye. Against, motion carries. So it's 4-4. Great. See you back here next time.
You can take 2 back and forth. I don't need one.
One would be good.
Okay, our second item of the evening.
Do you want that?
Yeah.
Oops. There you go. 1026 East Cannon, Perdido. New item, public hearing.
Good afternoon.
And Pacific Architects, Inc. How are you
Thank you
doing?
very much.
Yeah.
You have something to do?
The only thing I brought was a neighborhood plan, but let's
You
use
can
those.
superimpose that if you need it.
Yeah, let's use those. I got photos. Good afternoon. I'm Bill Wolf with Pacific Architects. I'll start kind of with the overall site plan layout here. Give you the lay of the land. Anyway, existing 6-unit development up on the end of Cannon Perdido, East Cannon Perdido, 1026. Haley Street's down here, followed all the way up to the end. The development's a little light here, but anyway, there's 6 homes, detached, 2-story, kind of a Spanish Mediterranean style. Existing unit has a deck that's on the upper level.
You said this is Haley, you said?
Well,
this
it
is
may
Haley.
be 1 or 2 streets past that, but it's Haley is over in that general direction.
Going this way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Up toward the county bowl sits kind of up off
Okay.
the corner over here.
right.
So south exposure. If you were tall enough, you'd have ocean views out kind of
Okay.
down to the city street.
I thought Cannon Perdido and Haley are parallel streets.
Oh, not Haley. I'm sorry, Milpas.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Totally threw you off there.
Yeah, I
I'm
was.
sorry.
Okay, I got it. So this is Milpas, this
Milpas
is Cannon
Street.
Perdido,
I'm sorry.
going
Yeah.
up east up the hill.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, existing home here, detached, has a deck that sits on top. We've had a lot of trouble with some waterproof issues. So we kind of started thinking, let's get rid of the waterproof issue forever. Let's do an addition and take that deck off. And it's actually 2 stories with a deck on the 3rd level, really. So you walk up a stairway that's covered, or not covered, but open. These are kind of shots of the neighborhood. You can kind of see the general style of the property. Existing
Okay,
houses.
okay, I
Yeah,
got it.
you probably
I know the
seen
development
these.
now, okay, right. I got it, yeah.
Yeah, these are the neighbors' properties. And there is it's pretty well screened, too. There's a kind of a ravine that sort of runs through here.
Right.
Lots of eucalyptus. As a matter of fact, there's...
So, Bill, this project is down here somewhere like that? Like it shoots down
Yes,
in here? Right?
exactly.
Right
You
in
come
here.
down a driveway, and then they've got 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6 like that. And then a big open yard green space kind of back over here.
Okay. So this is one of them in the back.
That's one of the
Okay.
units. This is kind of the view from the deck now.
Right,
So again, you're way up high,
right.
and this is a view looking back this way toward these houses that are kind of down low.
Okay,
But again, you can't see any of them.
right,
So the work we're doing is actually on the interior side of the courtyard.
Right.
This
Right.
communal area. So I'm going to segue on to the rest of the plan. I'm going to catch with the other reviewers here. So there's the site, kind of
Okay.
as you see it,
right,
down the drive, the 6 units.
right,
Ours is at the end, even difficult to see from the street, Cannon Perdido.
right.
Drops down low and difficult again to see from really anywhere.
Yes, yeah.
So this is the existing unit as it sits. There you can see kind of the upper deck, the stair that leads to the upper flat roof deck area there. 3rd level. There's a roof plan kind of showing it. And so in lieu of losing that square footage, they said, well, what if we tried to do a bedroom?
Bedroom.
A bedroom, not up there, but on the 2nd floor. So what we're proposing to do is take away the stair, take away the deck, connect it on the 2nd level over the garage, like that. That roof looks like that. You can see the dashed line of where the deck was. So that'll now become roof, 2-story, real straightforward. And it looks like this. Should have smaller sheets
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is the addition right in here we're
Right.
adding.
Right.
This is the piece of addition here. This is all existing. This is all existing. You can't, there's no change there. And then the only thing that changes is this little piece on this elevation here. So it's that portion, this portion, and that portion there that gets added.
Right.
We'll match finishes, of course, and textures and colors. It's two-piece mission tile, so we'll be replacing that. It's, we'll do the wrought iron, black wrought iron. We'll do the clad windows, or it's a wood-clad window product. The garage door stays the same, no change there. Mm-hmm. Any lanterns that we have will match existing styling of the unit. Trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. So anyway, the impetus was kind of getting rid of that deck. It's
Okay.
just one of those things we know
Okay.
in life we got to deal with. So
All right.
Chair,
Oh.
staff has some comments.
Staff has some comments. Okay.
Just wanted to inform you that planning did make a substantial conformance determination. We found that the project is consistent with the 2003 Planning Commission approval. Essentially, the addition meets all zoning requirements, and it's within the existing footprint that was originally approved by Planning Commission.
Great.
So you could
Thanks,
take
Simon.
action.
Great.
a letter for that if that helps.
Excellent. That's fine. Okay, with that, just see if we have anyone in public for comment. Seeing no one, I'll bring back to the board for questions. Keith?
No question.
No questions?
Paul? No questions. I feel like I have to ask a question.
Yes, ask a question.
I don't have any because I've been in that building when it was under construction and I think just before it went for sale. I know the area. It's so treed. It's so down in that valley. It's pretty private.
It is, yeah.
I'm very comfortable with it. So we bring it back for comments.
What's being proposed is totally appropriate with the existing development. It's well back from the street. It's internal to the project. Doesn't increase the mass, bulk, and scale. Actually kind of improves neighborhood privacy because there's not a third floor roof deck. So I think it's ready for a preliminary approval.
Great. Thanks. Don?
No additional comments, I agree.
Paul?
Yeah, no additional comments.
And I agree too, so I'm open for a motion.
So this would be for project design approval as submitted, final to return on consent with no comments. The board feels that the proposed work is totally appropriate for the existing residents.
Great. Thanks. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dawn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. You're
Great.
Good
Thank
to
you
go.
very much.
You're welcome. That goes time. All right. That brings us to the third item of the evening, 612 West Mission Street.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
I'm Keith Austin.
Pete?
Yeah, I'm the owner.
Okay.
This is the consultant
Jim?
designer.
Jim, yes.
Okay, when you're ready, just
Sure.
go ahead.
This is a single-family property, or a single-family residence right now on Mission Street. We want to convert this to a duplex.
Okay. Just show us, just locate us a little bit so that and then show us through photographs.
Coming up the underpass, going west on Mission Street, the property is just about dead across from the little store right there. There's a store right at the corner.
Okay.
There is a sixplex, I believe, right next door to it, and then also another much larger rental unit apartment complex across here, and a apartment complex also kitty corner across the street. So the store would be here, complex, and this is all a complex of apartments here.
Okay.
And then I believe there are two small houses that go to the corner
Right.
of Modoc.
Okay, so you're on the north side,
Right.
and right next to you is this apartment
Correct.
building. That's you there.
Correct.
That's you there, right? Yeah. Okay, and then across the street you've got that, and the little store.
And a little store.
That one, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then these are your internal photographs. There you go. There's underpass. Very good. Thanks so much for your
Sure.
good photographs.
Thanks.
Okay, continue. Thanks.
Well, we're going to use the same footprint that the house currently has,
Okay.
except for a couple of small buds that we're putting on, and these will be for the washer and dryer. So they're outside buds, but they'll also double as the water heater closet and washer and dryers will go into these two buds.
Okay.
And then we have a new proposed carport
Okay.
for two cars.
All right. You want to just run us through the design? Just turn the pages and. Do you have a design or?
Yeah,
or
right, we
just-
do.
Just show us.
What
the-
we're doing really
us the
is
second
just,
unit.
it's a function of splitting the units. We're adding all new windows here. We did take this window out that was in the, unfortunately, would need a modification for encroached into the setback. But the rest of these are all new windows. We're really doing nothing more than popping out these areas for the washer and dryer and the water heaters in two locations.
Right. And then you're demoing this.
We're demoing.
Unpermitted
We're
addition.
yes, and that was the
Okay.
unpermitted space back there,
Okay.
which opens up the backyard.
Okay. So let's see what this does to the elevations. So that's the roof. Those are the
Right.
buds.
Right.
And this is where new carport.
That's
into
the new
the front.
carport. Correct.
Okay. So I'm looking at the east elevation now, and you
Correct.
come in this way and you park in this way.
Correct.
That's the first bud here. That's the unpermitted addition you're taking
Right.
down,
That's the demolition.
and then
right.
that's the bud that you
Right.
call for. Okay.
And
This is the. Wouldn't this be the south elevation? Isn't that facing Mission Street?
this.
Front elevation.
But let's just call, let's call that the front anyway, whether it's east or west.
Right.
You know, sometimes the it's the way the our angles are. Okay, so this is the front. That's the carport in front. That's the bud beyond.
Right.
Okay, and this is the rear elevation, bud there, and this is where you take off that addition that was
Correct.
there. Okay, are you matching the roof material on the carport?
Yes. Yes. We'll have a new. We're going to need to re-roof the existing house, and then we'll just match the carport with the. I believe we're putting asphalt shingles on here.
So what's on there now, Jim?
Asphalt.
Okay.
Okay, and I see you're proposing for steel tube framework for
All right.
the. Have you got this engineered as yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm gonna go open it up for public comment. Public comment? Yes.
First, I want someone about written comments.
Okay.
Some staff comments also.
All right. So we have Nancy Vergara. Please come forward and just press that center button.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Nancy Vergara. I'm your neighbor. I live at 620 West Mission Street on a single-floor residence. And I just was concerned with the plan. I saw that it was being converted to a duplex, and my primary concern is the elevation of whether there was going to be a second story built onto the property.
Just one
Single
story.
floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
Or
is.
one story.
That's that was my main concern. because in the neighborhood already, there's a lot of congestion that over the years, there's been that complex that's between your property and mine that has been kind of hems in the neighborhood. It's really an impingement, you know, on neighborhood privacy. I have another building to the back of me, and I was just really worried that the second, if there was a second story, that it would continue to kind of hem in the remaining single-family, single-story homes on the block. So
Okay.
if there is no second-story plan, then
Great. Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you. So are you leaving your little tick here as opposed, or you want to change it to
Neither.
neither? Okay. All right, and then we have a request to speak by Robert Marciani, Housing Authority, City of Santa Barbara.
I think that's Roberta.
Roberta.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I
I think what I read is that they're concerned about 2 palm trees that are causing some damage to adjacent property, and they would like to have a condition to remove those 2 palms, and willing to help pay to remove those. So that's their concern about ongoing maintenance with those palm trees at the
Okay.
property line.
At the property line. I wonder if it's. Are you aware of these palm trees?
Yes.
Yes.
Could you show it to us on the site plan where these palm trees are?
The palm trees would be right. Yeah.
Oh, we talking over here?
I think he's talking about the large ones that I believe.
Next to the Housing Authority project.
Yeah.
That's
Is that this housing authority here?
the housing authority.
That's who's reporting these from the Housing Authority.
Yeah.
Our neighbors, what are they? Where are they at 620 or?
612.
Well,
We're at 612. Is it the?
Oh, that's the
No,
project
next door.
address. There.
No,
let's
there's 6
see.
units there, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about
Yeah,
these palm
yeah,
trees.
they'd be right in this area right here,
616. Okay.
right
I mean,
there.
I don't have an opposition to it myself. I just we kind of like the palm trees, you know, just because they're big, beautiful plants. And
Okay. Let's have a look. Do we
No.
have? Are they on the photograph?
Yeah, they are big.
Yes. So. Those are tall ones in the back
Right.
there. Is that the only photograph of it? You can't see it.
Yeah, you
Or they're
can't
way
see
up
it.
here.
They're up here. They're big.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vegetation and trees on that property.
So I'm assuming that these are the 2 tall ones that they're speaking about. Okay, I'll let you comment on that request in a short while. Okay, with that, I'm going to close public comment. And
I had some comments, Mr.
yeah.
Chair. I just wanted to point out to the board, there are some guidelines applicable to this project. Specifically, our urban design guidelines call for design concepts to make sure the carports are appropriate for that area, neighborhood, and pedestrian connections, and landscape plan applicability. You have the right to ask for improvements if you so choose.
Okay, thanks. Do we have a picture of this building?
We should in those pictures.
This one? This one, can you show me what this one looks like?
can you see the building on that first page there?
Not very much. No.
That's over here.
Yes. Well, it's really blocked by these.
Mr. Chair, I also noticed that we have a zoning plan check that was prepared that shows that they have to show their open yard area correctly. It's not shown correctly, so they have to adjust their plan.
That's the one on the.
And also, they're proposing some changes to doors and windows within setbacks that
here
could
we
not
go.
be done without a zoning modification. So I think the applicants have been notified, and they intend to change the plans to not have those improvements.
There it is.
To not have the
Right.
improvements.
That's, at least that was what was relayed.
That would be this
That
building
if
right
you
there.
would like those windows and doors, they would need modifications.
Okay. So would this be 616?
616. No, that would have to be 6. less, so it'd have to be,
610,
I mean, would the housing authority project be this one or this one?
this one.
It's this one. So they're talking about the common trees
Yeah.
here. Because I'm just looking at, I'm seeing palm trees down here. So
Right.
I'm thinking it's somewhere down here. Yeah. Okay.
I'm positive they're on the side over here.
Okay. There you go. That's this building here. Right.
No, the housing, the palm trees that were on the photo were
Yes,
back here.
yes, back here. And this is the housing authority building. I'm just saying that photograph is this building right here.
Oh, that's a
Right,
different.
Right.
Yeah. Just give you an idea of what. It's just because that backs right up to the carport. Okay, so I'm going to open to the board for questions. Keith? Dawn?
I had a couple. One is, do you have any windows on the current northeast elevation that is the elevation in question that's requiring the mod for alterations to the windows? Is there a window in here now, and are you proposing?
Well, the one that was, we need the mod for, we've taken out. We've just.
So you don't need the mod
We
anymore?
don't need it.
Okay. So the other question is, this is kind of a question for staff maybe, is you don't show the trash enclosure that the housing authority is questioning as having their foundation damaged, but I'm wondering how we would have even approved a trash enclosure on the property line next to a driveway like that. So are they asking for the trees to be removed for no future damage to an unpermitted trash enclosure or a permitted trash enclosure?
Don't know. It just handed to me a while ago. We can certainly look into that. That you are correct. There is a likelihood that it may not be permitted.
Okay. No further questions?
Thanks. Paul?
Question for the applicant, has you view like a photograph? There's an existing wall at the sidewalk. Are you planning on retaining that wall or
Yes.
keeping that wall? Saving
Yes.
it? And then at this point, are you planning on doing any landscaping in the front
Yes.
area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we were just notified we need a landscaping plan here,
Okay.
and within the last week, and we're just in the process of putting one together.
Yeah, we're identifying the landscape architect, and we will, have ones very soon to present.
Thank you. That was my questions.
And just before my comments again, my questions. Oh, I'm in questions. These trees here separate your property from this one. So there's a lot of vegetation here,
A lot of vegetation.
right? And a lot of vegetation here. Yeah, this is pretty well
Much more over on this side.
than this side.
Yeah.
You really can't see the building
Yes.
through the trees on that side of the property.
Yes.
This side, you can see the building over here.
True. Okay. And my second question is I asked you earlier about the palm trees. Your preference is to keep the palm trees.
My personal preference is to keep whatever nice plants that we can keep.
Yeah.
But, if it's a requirement of some kind from the planning,
What-
you guys, then
yeah.
we'll take them out if that's a necessity.
But you'd rather keep them.
Yeah, I'd rather
Okay.
keep them, yes.
Okay.
What about you, Jim?
Yeah, personally, I like palm trees.
Right.
I like them a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to give it back to the board for comments. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe come back to a question. Are these trees going to remain?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I guess my overall comments, obviously you're not adding kind of height or significant mass, bulk, and scale, so that all seems appropriate. I think I would question the design of the carport. It's kind of spindly, so I would want to see that somehow integrated architecturally more with the rear structure. The other comments would be primarily site plan, landscape. A little concerned about the 6-foot wall at the street and providing pedestrian access, some sort of wayfinding back to the entries, and particularly since this is going to be all new paving here, we'd look for some development of some defined pedestrian path.
Is that all new paving there, Jim?
Yes.
in there? There is?
Here.
Okay.
Actually, most of this is existing.
Yeah.
Well,
existing.
well, I guess what I would be looking for is a landscape plan
Sure.
that sees how you're addressing the front yard landscape
Right.
and architecturally enhancing the carport design and providing that pedestrian access.
We've had a discussion about the fence from the beginning, and we've thought of it. There's going to be a plan. I mean, we've thought of putting up a hedge instead of a fence. Just to for privacy reasons. I don't know if that's something. Is that something?
I think we're
talking about this fence here.
I don't think we can go much more than 3.5 feet there.
Right.
So the thought was maybe a chain link fence and then cover it with
Well, you
the
have
vines, the fast growing.
Instead of the CMU wall?
No, the wall we're going to leave there.
The wall we're going to leave there. I think we're talking about this wall right here.
There's actually this wall we're planning on leaving there.
Right.
The fence is what we're talking about right now, and this.
Well, the plan shows a 6-foot CMU wall, so that's, I guess the concern is having a blank wall there.
This one right here?
number 10 says
I see.
6 foot high,
That's the
8-inch
concern, is
CMU
that
wall.
wall there.
So
Just
that's,
having a
that's what your
blank
plan
wall.
is, yeah.
I mean, one option could be maybe, if the
Right,
surface and the carport split, you could actually have an architectural wall that faces the street that
We
supports the
actually have, I
carport.
think, changed some of this on this new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next time.
And
you-
I guess the other comment would be on the palm trees. I think if just rather than taking them out, if there could be some sort of maintenance that's mutually agreeable with your neighbor, I think that would be preferred. No other comments?
It's a foundation maintenance issue. So damage to the trash enclosure was what they were complaining about. So,
I don't know too much about the trash enclosure. Anyway, your comments are. You finished, Paul, quickly?
yeah,
comments.
I agree with Keith's comment about the design of the carport just not being in steel. And if you need steel, then to face it, to box it out with wood, but I prefer wood detailing on carports,
6 by
but
6.
not steel, exposed steel. I don't think we've ever approved an exposed steel carport.
Beams. You like the big beam type of thing.
Yeah, we like something, more aesthetically pleasing than something industrial in nature. And the tubular steel post is not going to work from a design standpoint. So
I agree with you.
just look at something else as an alternative. And then
Right.
I'm hesitant to comment on the removal of large specimen palm trees. If there is such a thing, large trees. I like to keep trees in New Can. That's why I made that question to staff about checking into that. But if we need to, then I guess we need to. But right now, I'm not going to comment on that. And then my other question was related to the CMU wall, which it sounds like you're not even proposing right now. It's
Right.
just next time you come back, tell us what you are proposing and show the transition between the 42-inch height and the 60-inch height, whatever that is, whatever the materiality is that you use, just make it consistent and then make the transition appropriate. And that's my only comment.
Great. Dawn.
I know this is kind of a dumb question, but we were talking about the pedestrian walkway. Can you explain that a little better to me, please? Sorry.
From the street?
Yeah, we were talking we were talking about pedestrian access or walkway through here. No?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry, Keith. You didn't? Oh.
Staff is alluding to with
Yeah, if you have two units, how do you get to both units?
Ah.
So somehow the
Wayfinding.
paving needs to define a pedestrian path through there, and then you're also going to have to deal with your stormwater management, and they're probably not going to want to have it all, impermeable surfaces. So there's an opportunity there that you could probably integrate the two and provide some sort of pedestrian defined path. Doesn't mean it has to be completely separate from the auto path, but something so the pedestrian knows how to find his way through there.
Okay.
And these are for your tenants. They're not for public. Well, the public who come to visit.
Oh, yeah,
No,
for
but
people
they're-
who live there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. I understand.
You
I
finished?
think all the comments were valid. The one that I want to reiterate the most is the palm tree. I would agree with saving it as best we can, just because it exists and it's nice and it's large. If the adjacent neighbor doesn't have a permit for their trash enclosure, it's less likely that you even have to remove it. But if they do, see if there's a maintenance way that you can both live with the trash enclosure built in their side yard setback and you having your mature landscaping remain. And then the whole front area that you're looking at and the pedestrian walkway. So it's a good project.
Good.
Thanks, Paul. My comments are similar. I'd like to see the proposal that you come back with that, and a landscaping and site plan that shows this front wall that exists here right now. And if you can show also, the stone, you have this stone detailing, the paving, because that would help you articulate your space a little bit better. And then what your proposal is here for your fence, and it looks like you have a gate there already.
Yes.
So you probably will have a gate proposal in here. And we'd like to see what that looks like and what the gate looks like and the fence, or fence and or hedge or whatever your proposal is. I agree here. You look at the design of the carport. We'd like to see something a little bit more in keeping with the house. And I could surely say that if you just had these 4 posts without anything in between, structurally it would be able to pass. That won't stand up for very long. It needs bracing with those tiny little posts. So you need to do a design of that.
I actually have one.
I agree with the other members on the palm trees that if we can keep them at all, that would be the best thing. And if there is some kind of maintenance issue that you could work out with your neighbor, that would be fine. I think architecturally what you have done, taking out the back, putting on these 2, and the carport here is acceptable in this realm with the amount of screening that you have here, the carport. You have a lot of distance here to the front. You have this area that you can plant up. So really I'm looking at you coming back just to show us what your proposal here is for the landscaping, addressing how you would address the path of travel for your for the public coming to visit or your tenants. And that's it, really.
I have one additional comment before the motion is made, is that I may be the only one, but you've all heard this from me before. I'm not the one that likes the defined walkway in the middle of a concrete slab. I think that, for me, a better way of wayfinding is something either, a little sign that says to Unit 2 with an arrow, something nice, or a light or an arbor or a gate here, so that visitors would know where to go, as opposed to this looking like a pathway to the back door. I prefer that better than having a strict walkway that people are intended to follow along. It just to me is just always a little forced. But I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I just prefer a driveway, and then you walk across the driveway to get to wherever it is that you are supposed to go, and it's obvious where to go. But, but I know.
We let them come back. I'm not opposed to that, but I'd just like to see what they come up with.
Okay.
But I think it's good that you gave them suggestions that they could latch on to and use as options. And
If you were to build a little arbor on each side, does the arbor, can that encroach into a setback?
No.
So your gateway
If
would
it's
have...
less than 3.5 feet, it can.
It could be a fence type, but it can't be an overhead
Can't be an
structure
overhead.
above. So it could be more of a...
So it could be a couple columns and something that... you pass through.
Yeah, but not
Is it
high.
close?
It can't be in the setback. Oh, yeah, if it's not in the front yard setback, it can be higher.
Like a fence,
Yeah.
as long as you don't put a roof structure over it.
Okay.
Just
All right.
think of something.
I think we're open for a motion, and who would like to?
I'll make a motion for an indefinite continuance back to the full board to provide a landscape plan and to look for ways to provide wayfinding to each unit, to return with the proposed fencing or screening of the proposed parking along the front yard, and return with detailing of the appropriate detailing for the design of the carport. And the board would prefer to retain the 2 large palm trees, if possible. But yeah, I don't know. Can I just leave it at that, if possible?
And indicate all trees on your landscape plan. At least all the big ones, like these big ones.
That's kind of a given that the landscape plan is going to include all the vegetation that you're planning
Yeah.
on keeping.
Yeah.
So just, and I think I covered everything.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Paul. Under discussion, any item? Paul? All those in favor of the motion? Aye? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So we look forward to seeing you back here again.
Already. Yeah, these are
Okay.
actually the updated ones.
And our
The CMUs were out of there.
We didn't review that one anyway, so.
last item of the evening, 1812 San Pasqual Street. That's you.
Before we start on this, I would like to switch those, because I have all the landscaping plans on these sheets. They're, like these sheets, they're complete. There's 3 sets here.
Okay.
Make-
Just landscaping. Let's just put the lands. We'll keep these and we'll just use landscaping from that one to here.
Might be some change, I'm not sure.
Well, since we don't know what the changes are, we'll use these because we have to use these.
I want to talk to you.
Unless, yeah, just put the landscaping here.
There might be a difference.
Well, if there's a difference, then we need to know what they are.
You know what, I don't have a set of these, but I can go through it real quick and I would know. They decided we could switch it because of the fact that there were a couple of details they wanted us to put on here.
Jaime?
He needs to fill out a form for substitution and identify what's changed. You can do that at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
He has to identify what's changed on the
Maybe you
plan.
want to
We've
go off
already
of
checked
this.
those plans, and the project is changed again, so that's has to be explained.
Okay, then we're going to keep this here. If you want to show those, we're going to keep these here to match it up, and you're going to show us all the different changes so that we could put them on that, indicate them on here.
On here?
So you're going to show that set?
Yes.
Is that what? Okay.
I have 3 sets.
And pass one there, and they can compare.
I would appreciate that, thank you. The designer was going to be here, but he was ill. So. And here's another set. You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul, if you could just mark up anywhere they see a change from the previous set, that would be helpful, and then we could give that back to Jaime too, as a record after. Okay, you want to go
My
ahead?
name's Mike Szymanski. I'm the owner of 1812, 1814 San Pasqual.
Okay.
We went through the original checklist that we were given at the last meeting. We originally had 3 buildings, 3 different units. Now we eliminated 1, so we're only going to have 2 new units that are going to be built. The two front duplex is going to remain the same.
Okay, so these minutes from the last one may or may not apply.
That's correct.
Okay, I'll just read it out here just for so that our members could read it. Back to full board. Study the fenestration and articulation of all elevations. Relocate the trash enclosures to a less visible location. Study access for second-story units to the rear open yard space. Study enhancing the entries to units C and D. Indicate landscape opportunities on a conceptual plan. Study reducing the garage height. Study reducing the double cantilever of the rear buildings. Provide an enhanced pedestrian-friendly entry on the existing building. Indicate a change of the sliding glass door to a sliding window, and indicate pedestrian access to all units. Show removal of the concrete apron at the sliding door. Okay?
Yes. Sheet 1 hasn't changed. It's the same information. On A2, we just showed all the open space area that shows on the whole property, which is all in the dark shaded area. On sheet 3, we have the outdoor living space for each unit, so each tenant can go out to their own space and have their open area.
So this is now a reduced
Project, and we went from 3 units down to 2 in
Okay.
the back. The front unit is an existing duplex, it remains the same.
Okay.
So, and then we, sheet A4 shows that the two stories, 2-bedroom units that are going to be built with the garages in between with the double-car garages. And then we moved the trash enclosure to between the two buildings, so we have a whole new trash enclosure area. Before it was on the front of the property.
Okay. So I think Keith and Paul, you were the two members that were here last time. I think Don and I have to review quickly the last set before we could.
It's basically a brand new project because it's now a 2-unit project instead of a 3-unit project.
I see.
So you can't comment on it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Does the architecture look
Since
at
it's a
all,
change
is it totally
project,
different?
we can.
It's totally different because
Okay.
this used to be 3 units and it used to have a double
Okay.
cantilevers. And
And we don't have any photos.
All right.
Let's see, for some reason. That'd be another file that we had a previous. Let me go look.
Can we turn those pictures this way? So
sure.
Because it's upside down on the television.
Oh, it's
also.
hard.
Yeah.
On A5, what we've shown is the existing building and the existing roof in the front. And there was a comment made that we should try to enhance the front entry. So we have a little eyebrow that we put on there. It's hard for me to do it upside down. Side elevation. This is I believe this is the
That's
section
the
right
rail.
here.
That's the rear
That's the
elevation.
rear. Where's the front section is side. It'd be this section over here. Yeah, this is the eyebrow that's going to be sticking out over
Where-
here.
where-
This
where-
is the front street.
Yeah, and where is that front elevation? Show it. You have another
Yeah,
drawing?
we have another page.
Okay.
It should be on the next page.
Not there. Not there.
And
Not here. Okay, we need
the
to
front.
have,
It should
we
have-
need to have
should be-
front here.
Should be
This is the back of this.
right. This is a carport. This is a side.
That's the side.
driveway.
This is the other side.
Right.
This
Should
is the
be
front. We need to see this
Existing
one.
building here. That's the rear side.
So we need a front elevation.
This says front elevation here. That's not it. That's the
That's
back.
not it there.
I don't know why there's not there. This is it's a real flat roof.
Or is this the front with this thing?
No, that's the
something's
new.
missing.
That's the other
With the
building.
other beyond.
So this is the
This is the front with the other beyond.
entry that he's talking about.
You know, it might be on the other drawing then.
Now that's it right here, this little piece here.
Right.
That's the front, but this piece here, which is in the back building,
Right.
he's
Right.
he's made it look like it's sitting right on top of this one.
Yeah, but it's not. But the only eyebrow we changed was this here, this little slope roof here, because
Yeah.
we only have 2.5 feet of room to move it up. So that's all we did to the front. And there is in another picture, another illustration will show that, and better.
Okay, just,
These are all two-bedroom units, two-story. They all have exterior back doors out of the back so that the people can have access to the yard area.
and they're both on the same side. Okay. So, landscape.
And then we have the landscaping. And we have it designated, like you were asking the other gentleman to do, have a walkway path, so we have that in here. It's all designated on the chart. The rest of this is all existing asphalt that's already there. This is a private
And this
driveway.
one
is the pedestrian.
Angeles block. Is that this one?
Yes, Allen block. I mean, it's pavers.
Pavers. What is this in? Another paver.
And pavers here, yes.
So this is gray and this is red
Right,
and this is
black.
black.
This is owned by the other party and ourselves. It's a
Oh, I see. So
private driveway.
I just want to see. Black, red, gray. Okay.
And we're not removing any landscaping that was there, any trees. We have huge trees in the back and the side yard. Now, I do have a colored 3D here that shows what we're looking at, which
Okay.
I think would be really a lot easier for you
Yeah,
to
definitely.
visualize all this.
This will be black, red, gray, right?
That's correct. It really looks really nice on this drawing. Quite a difference from what we had there several months ago.
This is looking toward the street, right?
Toward the backyard.
Toward the back.
This is in the rear of the front building.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing
know.
behind
I'm a little disoriented because I'm not following the photographs either.
Take a look at this picture right here.
Yeah.
Because this picture is the existing structure, the new trash enclosure, there's parking here, and then the two new units.
Yeah. This is a shared driveway, right? Shared driveway.
It's a shared driveway, right. It's a duplex next to us.
That's why.
Here's the trash.
What's right there?
That view
The
is-
street's here over here. That's where I was confused. Okay, I got it.
And there's nobody behind us. It was recommended we have the separate, the garages and the walkway paths, and
Okay. Good. So with that, I'll open it up for public comment. Seeing no one, I'll close that portion. Bring it back to the board. Questions? Jaime, you have anything from staff?
Mr. Chair, all I have a note here on record that we're still waiting for a noise report to be
Noise-
updated on the project.
yes, I can do that as soon as we know this,
Yes.
how it's designed.
You're aware
is
of
okay.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We've
And then Keith? Questions? Don? I could go to Paul first. You want to go to Paul? Are you ready?
I have one simple question, get down, we'll read it.
Okay, Paul?
Is this just being done as an architectural projection, just a little foo-foo thing, and that's this little bump out in the back of the garage? Does it have anything?
That's correct. It has
It's
nothing to do
just
with
done
except
for
to
fun.
give a little breakup
Okay.
between the units.
Thanks.
Okay. Don?
I'm just trying to, I don't know why I don't remember this project, but I'm just trying to
Originally, there
see
was
where
a,
the existing building rear elevation.
the existing front duplexes there's no changes at all in that.
So can you just show me
There was a
any one of these photos where that is, just so I can visually remember.
Well, when you see this is the front building right here. It's the duplex. And in the back, there was a two-story older building, which is not going to be there anymore. It was an old dilapidated
So
building.
that's the building you're not doing anything to, right?
That's correct. We're not changing anything on
mic-
that except
mic
the
is
front
open.
window. We eliminated a sliding door and put in a window to match the existing windows next to it. But all this is all down. This was the existing duplex before.
Are you taking out that concrete patio?
The patio?
Yeah. Because you show all landscaping
Yes,
here.
we are taking that out, yeah.
Okay.
And they took out the door and made it a window to
So what do
match
you-
the kitchen window.
What do you mean when you say this is all down?
Well, the building is dilapidated. There's no windows. There's no foundation. It's just a piece of junk. So
I
the
thought you
origi-
were keeping the
I'm
existing
not keeping
building.
any of it because originally we were going to do that, and we had a permit to do that and build a two-car garage, but it just wasn't working out structurally to rebuild this. It was not worth rebuilding.
No one ever told you that?
They told me that at this board numerous times. So we're eliminating that. Thank you. That's
So
why
you're
it's-
starting, the whole project's new,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're not keeping, and I kept hearing you say we're keeping and not doing anything to the existing duplex.
That's true. On the front.
Oh, okay.
On the front.
On the front. And that's
building.
not the front, that's the front.
That's right. This is the front. It's a one-story building it's a duplex.
Okay.
So what you see on all this is all coming down, you know.
And this fencing here, that's coming down, or you put a new fence there? That's on the right.
No, that fencing stays. Right now, that's where the trash area is, but it's going to be moved to the back,
Okay, so that
where the
there
new
should,
trash
there
area is.
should be a little part. Oh, so the gate stays, and you're gonna landscape in front of it.
Yes.
We have a landscape review by Chris Strater. So, Dawn, any other questions?
No. Thanks.
So my questions are I just want to coordinate here. We see we're taking this part out. I see you have another pathway here. So you're keeping that gate and you'll integrate this.
That's right.
This is a new
Integrate this,
pathway.
right, to give it another.
And then this is going to be in that red brick?
Yes.
Or is proposed all of this red brick in here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then
Except the landscaping plan, where you see the open area.
yeah. Okay, I have no other questions, and I'm going to bring it back to the board for comments. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this has come a long way since
Thank you.
what we saw originally. I think you responded to the comments in a positive way. Trash enclosures screened, everyone has access to their private open space. You've provided the landscaping plan. I think my only comments would be just architectural refinements, maybe consider, seems like the pitch on this lower floor of the new building is sort of low or flat where it engages the second floor. I don't know if that could be studied, and perhaps just kind of increasing the spacing on your battens. They just look really kind of wide Whereas if you had a true board and batten, those would be about 12 inches on center or something of that nature.
So you're decreasing them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, decreasing the spacing, yeah. So increase the number of bats. And I think those are my only comments. Thanks.
Thanks. Dawn?
I agree with Keith, and I'm okay with the massing. I think for me, it's the same issues as just refinement of the detailing. And my comments would be, for instance, the detailing on these porch supports. I don't know if I would have done stucco meeting wood like that, quite like that. It looks just a little bit heavy, sitting on top of the post, but it's not. It's in the back of the property, so it's not a deal breaker for me. And I probably would have chosen the same color for the beam extensions as the fascia, whether you choose to do everything dark or choose to do everything white. To me, this contrast isn't necessarily what I would have done, but if it's what you want, then it's okay with me.
The only reason why the roof is the angle is because that's the same angle that's on the front building. So before there was a comment made that the roof was too high and had too big a slope. So
But you're saying these roof pitches match?
they actually match the front. So
And they're both the same. These pitches are the same.
right.
The upper and
They
lower.
just don't look like it.
It doesn't look like it from the drawing. It's probably what Keith was saying.
That's the same as this pitch?
Right.
That pitch?
No,
This is the same as this one?
This is like this pitch is a little greater. This is greater, definitely.
Okay.
This in reality would come up another foot.
I think that's what Keith's saying, is that they should match.
Just do it the
Okay.
same as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that.
Right.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for me.
So, Paul?
It's I don't know how to be polite. It's working, it's coming together, but there's ways that the architecture could have a lot more depth to it. But I understand the type of housing it is. There's opportunities that I think could be happening here that are not required, but with a little more effort, you could have an apartment building that has more pizzazz. And I look at it from that way, and it's not like I'm trying to make it more expensive. I'm just trying to make the architecture look nicer. And just say it. It's a weak attempt. I mean, it looks like a stacked mobile home. I'm being frank because that's what I see here. If people are going to say it because it's in the back of the property, no one's ever going to see it because we're not going to see it from the public road or the public sidewalk, then go for it. But I'm saying for you as a property owner, you're building a building, make it look like something you know. And the simple design choice right here is that this roof pitch can go the opposite direction, which will fill this void and give a little bit more character to this elevation, and I'm not really adding that much more money to it. These windows could be a smidgen larger. There's little tiny things that are happening. In fact, the architect, I want to say, has gotten too excited in all the busyness and has created a lot of bumps and grinds that I could say you could almost bring it back a little bit and soften some of the pushes and pulls and take the money and make each one a little bit nicer and a bigger statement. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't see any architectural value in that, and I don't know if that's a $300 hit or a $2,000 hit, but that element could be used somewhere else. The roof pitches, it seems like it's a very shallow pitch. They were talking about it. Before, I think you had like a 6 and 12 roof pitch and a 3 and 12, and it was looking odd. But there's no reason why you couldn't go with a 4 and 12 roof pitch if this is a 3 and 12, and it's still of the same family,
Right.
the same vernacular.
Okay.
If you got two separate buildings, you can punch one up a little bit and give it a little more kick. You know, each one of these bumps is more money because of all of your inside corners. When you frame this, you're going to frame this from double top plate to top plate, and then you're going to come back a little bit. Maybe along this back side, because you have all this flashing at the roof, maybe you don't have as many bumps and grinds. So I would say in the next iteration, try to simplify some of the detailing to be a little more streamlined and make each one have a little more punch to it. And go around town and take pictures of architecture that you really like that's in this craftsman bungalow style, hand it to your designer and say, I want my front door to look like this photograph, and then that's his assignment to do that for you, because it just looks a little bit, it doesn't have quite enough pizzazz that we're used to seeing in town. And it might work, but that's where I'm looking at it going, you know, it's barely fine, but there's so many more opportunities there that you can work with.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Okay, I think I recall this from way back, and I have to say, one good thing is it's definitely in a positive direction from where it originally started.
Right.
It's, I think you have a few things. I think it's going in the right direction, but I think Paul has made some good points, and the others have made some good points, especially on, Don has made on the contrast of colors that you have. And I think it could be exacerbated by these kind of 3D models. Sometimes they only have a color that they could just put in, and it's not a color that you might choose off of a color chart. So when you come back, one of the things we'd like you to come back with is a color scheme that is a little less high contrast with everything, like a very bright white and a dark green and a gray. You want to get that palette in a more harmonious
That's great.
Family. And one of the things I'm worried about too is that you have a dark asphalt roadway, and then you have a red walkway, and then you go back to gray again. And it's great to have that division of the walkway, and you should have it. But if there was a way that you could have a happier color between the three, like if that's going to be gray and this is going to be black, I don't know how red it is. Like, I wouldn't go to a bright red. I'd go to a deep red, you know, like a really dark red, so that at least you don't have this high contrast again, you know.
Right.
Or if there were two color grays that you could use in here to just make the separation, you know, that might be something to look at. But I'm just saying that stay away from the bright red, because when you come back, we're going to want you to show us the different colors, the real color of what the contrasts are.
Okay.
Not only the building, but in your landscaping materials. Okay? I think the point of the roof slopes is well taken, and you really should look at those. And then when you do come back and you put the new slopes in, these kind of conditions where your hip is falling off of the corner, you know, you want to make sure that it comes to, at least you don't have an odd situation. You know,
I understand that. You don't have a step in it.
Yeah, you want to look at that. So you know, your detailing of your outriggers. Again, this high contrast of a dark green column with the gray wall. I'm not sure whether, you know, I want you just to look at the colors and the detailing.
I like tan and white myself. I think it's nice. You know, so
yeah.
You should look.
I like tan and white too.
Keith had some good comments on the board and batten. You want to study your board and batten, because if you're putting up 4-foot sheets, you know, you're going to want to put a batten between every 4 feet, so you're going to divide up the 4 feet into a different section. So they're probably going to end up being a little bit closer here.
Right.
So it's stuff like that. And I think you should, you know, consider what Paul is saying too, in terms of it being, you know, it's a very symmetrical building. That's what you have, and that's not totally a bad thing. But anything you could do to bring that into a realm where it's give it a little bit more character than you've got. You know, like what Paul was saying would be a.
We're trying to not have a box sitting up there, and
Right.
by making these jogs in and out, it eliminated that.
Well, it's definitely way better than where this project first started, because I remember the original plaster and the steps up the back and the skylight, and there was a whole lot of stuff going on there. Okay.
Is texture 111 we can put on there? That's satisfactory to you?
T111 is not really one of the. It's not really a board and bat kind of material. It's a grooved panel. T1 is a groove, and I'm not keen on you having T1.
Okay, we'll just put board and bat. That's fine.
Yeah.
Closer together.
I'd rather see you put a real board and bat finish in there.
And can I make one more comment?
Yes.
I wouldn't take out all of the undulations in the floor plan entirely. I mean, I don't think that's what Paul was recommending anyway, even though it may have come off as that way. But I wouldn't do that because I don't think it should look like a box, and that's not what you intended anyway. So,
Right.
Minimize them or combine them into fewer.
Fewer, right, that makes sense. Okay.
Just simplify the massing maybe a little bit.
Okay. And then in emotion, we should have that we'll strongly look towards the landscaping coming back with all the colors and some pictures of what your plants look like, your plant palette. And I think we should probably have our landscaper on board to review that, so we can't review the landscaping right now. So we look for you to come back and present that landscaping in that light again with the colors. So we're looking for landscaping, colors, detailing, roof slopes to match, high contrast, tone down the high contrast, and whatever else, I think. So we're open to a motion.
I second it.
Thank you. I think you mentioned this. If you could just reiterate those so Gloria can get them down. I think that was everything that we talked about.
Chair, if I might add, does the board feel comfortable giving project design approval for the architecture at this point?
I don't
with the
think we can we?
Okay.
I'd rather wait until the roof slopes come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion. This will be for indefinite continuance back to the full board with the following comments. The board's appreciative of the revisions made to the project, feels it's heading in the right direction. The mass, bulk, and scale and site planning is appropriate, as is the architectural style. Board has the following comments. Study simplifying some of the second floor jogs in the massing. Restudy the color to minimize sharp contrast. Study the detailing of the board and bat siding and the front porch overhangs to make it a more authentic architectural style. Study the roof slopes of the new building and consider providing a more authentic, steeper roof slope. Did I miss anything?
No, I can't think of anything else.
That's it.
I think that's it. Can I have a second? Paul, second. Under discussion, any items? No? With that, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. My motion carries.
All right.
We look forward to seeing you back here. Thanks very much.
You will.
Yeah. And with that, that's the last item of the evening. I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Good night, Santa Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.